Today we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions. The first question I want you to take a look at is a third plus 3/4. I'm going to give you a few seconds to try and answer this. Did you get the answers 4/7? Well, you've just fallen into the main trap that people do when adding and subtracting fractions. And if you think about this practically in terms of a cake, if I split a cake up into thirds, quarters and sevenths, I can see that 1/3, and if I'm given 3/4, so a significant part of the cake, is going to give me a lot more than 4/7 in the end. Okay, so this is the reason why we can't just add the top numbers and add the bottom numbers together. The first example we're going to look at is going to be 1/4 plus 1/4. Now, to add or subtract fractions, the bottom numbers, the denominators, have to be the same. So I look at the denominators this time, they're both 4, they're the same, so it's nice and easy to do. The denominator for the answer is going to be 4, that never changes, we never add or subtract the bottom numbers, it just stays the same. And now I look at my top numbers, 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer is going to be 2/4, or as some of you may know, the same as a half. My next question, 2/3 take away a third. Again, I look at the denominators. Both are 3, they're the same. So I know my answer is going to be something over 3. 2 take away 1 is 1. So my answer is going to be 1/3. Now, the second questions that we look at is going to be more complicated in terms of the style. It's going to be very similar to the ones we looked at the start. So example 2, we're going to look at 1/2 plus 1/4. Now I look at the denominators. This time I notice that they are not the same. So what I have to do is I have to include one more step whereby I make them the same. Now the key rule that you will have heard of at some point to do with fractions is whatever I do to the bottom number, I have to do the same to the top and vice versa, okay? So think about keeping them in balance. So I want to try and change these two fractions to fractions with the same denominators. How I do this, I think of a number which is in both the 2 times table and the 4 times table. The first number that I think of is 4, because 4 is in the 2 times table and 4 is in the 4 times table. So I want to rewrite these as something over 4. Now, the second one is already over 4, so I don't need to touch that. The first one, however, which I've just put a box around, is over 2. So I need to change that to something over 4. How I do that, I ask myself, how was the bottom number changed? Well, 2 has been times by 2 to get to 4. Whatever I do to the bottom number, I have to do to the top. So 1 has got to be times by 2 as well. 1 times 2 is 2. Plus, 1/4 is already over 4, so that's fine. Again, I look at the bottom numbers, the denominators. This time they're the same, so I know my answer is going to be something over 4. And now I look at my top numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3, so my answer is going to be 3/4. Next example, 3/5 take away a half. Denominators are different. This time, both fractions are going to have to change. Reason being, 2 doesn't go into 5 and 5 doesn't go into 2. So I want to think of a number which appears in both the 5 times table and the 2 times table. The smallest one I can think of is 10, so I'm going to rewrite these fractions as something over 10. 5 has been times by 2 to get to 10, so 3 has got to be times by 2, I get 6. 2 has been times by 5 to get to 10, so 1 has got to be times by 5, I get 5. So my new sum, 6/10, take away 5/10. Bottom number stays the same. The answer is going to be 6 take away 5 is 1/10. Okay, so the key things you have to remember, denominators have to be the same. If they're not, you need to include a step whereby you make them the same.